Welcome, NutritionRadio.org listeners. This is Lonnie Lowery, a university nutrition professor of over 20 years and podcast host of long-running shows like Iron Radio. Come on in. Lecture time. Hey, everybody. This is part 2 of the Consumer Protection Spot the Red Flag lecture that we started last week. Again, just a trip into the classroom, what kind of things are covered in consumer protection when it comes to, this is sports nutrition focused. What we're going to do is share this end of the lecture clip, which was edited for brevity because we don't have a lot of time. And then we'll just close out at the end. I won't be back here as I'm doing right now at the very end. So please remember, subscribe on iTunes if you could. You just look for nutritionradio.org. Look us up, Lawnman07 on YouTube for our backup if you'd like to listen that way. And we'll see you next time. Here we go.
A little bit more here. Money back guarantees. Money back guarantees aren't enforced. So I see that on infomercials all the time. If it doesn't work, we'll give you your money back. Well, you write the company, you don't hear from them. You write again, you don't hear from them. And then by the time enough people complain, even if the FDA or the FTC will start to act against them, they'll just bankrupt the company and reopen it in a slightly different name. I mean, it costs about $500 to incorporate a business in the state of Ohio. They just, the FDA cannot keep up because they'll collapse one business and open another. Testimonials, it works, I swear. That sort of thing. And if you think about it, if your sister or a cousin or something tells you something works, that's like a testimonial. But it doesn't say really, it doesn't give any reliability numbers as far as the safety and the efficacy. Everybody's different. Celebrity endorsements, that's a lot like a testimonial, but it's from someone who you feel you know. Michael Jordan tells you he likes his Nike shoes. You tend to listen to him a little bit more than, some chump on the sidewalk, I suppose. But really, what does he really know about the, safety and efficacy? He can't really talk about particular products. And then before and after pictures, and that there's a funny picture on here, but before and after pictures can be dubious. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I've even seen people holding up a newspaper with the date on it in the before picture, and then a different newspaper with a date in the after picture. This is ridiculous. I could hold up a newspaper from 1925. That doesn't prove that was the date. It's absurd. But people just don't think these sorts of things fly below the radar. So that's the end of the lecture content. Now what I want you to do is get hands-on. And it's really helpful if you have the PowerPoint in front of you for this one. I will try to talk your way through this as well. But I want you to take 10 or 15 minutes, look at some of the actual sports nutrition and dietary supplement examples here, and then tell me what red flag is there. What's the, in other words, what's the thing that's makes your spidey sense tingle about this might be fraudulent? So remember, look for safety data and effectiveness data, if there are any. Then after we go through a couple of these examples, we'll explore what to do if you or a client is scammed. So 10 or 15 minutes, here comes examples. Can you spot the con? Can you spot the red flag? So study the ad, apply what you've learned, and then you can click for the answer. The first one says, we're still the best. Natural Source Bodybuilders Pack. Natural Source Muscle Mass. Natural Source Aminos. Natural Source Fat Burners. Well, one of the things that we talked about that's not always true, of course, is natural. Natural meaning what? Better? Safer? How? Let's look at another one. This one says, it's already developing a huge following. And then there's a big star sort of explosion on the ad that says, high in beta-lactoglobulins and alpha-lactalbumins. What do you think that would be? If you said medical terminology or baffling scientific, talk, absolutely. Beta-lactoglobulins, alpha-lactalbumin, what the average person doesn't know is, what is that? That's milk protein. Now, admittedly, it's a particular kind of milk protein, but it's milk protein, and that doesn't sound nearly as exciting. So they're purposely using some baffling scientific language there. It's one of my favorites. These ads have been pixelated to protect the not so innocent, by the way. I've tried to pixelate some of the actual brand names, but the next one says 60 days. Imagine what it can do. And it shows guys from the left to the right in apparently a series of events over the course of 60 days and how their body composition changed. And if you look at this ad closely, it's just funny. The guys on the left are pale, their shorts are down, or sagging, that sort of thing. And as you pan to the right, they're puffed up, they're tan, they're even oiled up, some of these guys. They have overhead lighting, it's almost comical. So what's the problem with these kinds of things? I said I'd mention 2 months is just the threshold of measurable change, really. Even in the lab, we'd be hard-pressed to see big changes in just 2 months, even with the Bod Pod. And I think most importantly, before and after pictures are dubious. They could have even been taken in reversed order. I'm not going to give names, but there's a major company that you might recognize in sports nutrition, and they were notorious. I had a friend who worked there, and he eventually left because he was so disturbed. But they were, one of the guys was in great shape, one of the owners of the company, and he took a bunch of pictures. Then he went to McDonald's every day for 2 months and just pigged out. Like that movie, what was it, Super Size Me? And he got fat. And then he presented his pictures in reverse order and said it was the supplement that did it. And I know from an inside source this is absolutely true. I don't doubt it for a second. So, they could have been taken in reverse order. And most people just don't think about that. They could have been paid for or taken using particular training regimes or diets. Nothing proves that the before and after is because of the supplement. We need an experimental design study to get cause and effect, that it's actually the supplement is causing any kind of changes. All right, next one. Why almost everyone is wrong in the way they build muscle mass, strength, and power. And then down at the bottom, I circled something for you. It says, I got invited to a top secret, strictly hush-hush Bulgarian symposium. So what red flag is that? Actually, this is setting up a couple. It's definitely the secret one. It's also the foreign one. And at the top, he's bashing the currently accepted consensus of health professionals, why everyone is wrong. That should throw up a red flag to you. You've already been at university long enough to know there are decades of research pertaining to muscle building in this case. All of those studies, what are they now wrong? No. So this one has got several red flags. The next one says, author of the Underground Steroid Handbook labeled this product a must-be-used bodybuilding supplement. This is an example of an endorsement. Again, it doesn't say anything about the efficacy or safety. In fact, the steroid guru, who's now passed away, that was endorsing the stimulant product, he was in and out of prison several times. He didn't care anything about your safety. So endorsements, sort of at least from a Muscle Mag standpoint, a celebrity endorsement. This next one, it says heavy weight gainer, and there's a picture of this big, colorful ball and stick model, chemistry model at the bottom. So it sure looks scientific, but does that colorful molecule say anything about safety or efficacy? No, it's an unrelated visual. My money is on the fact that that's not even one of the compounds in this heavy weight gainer. Just kind of ridiculous. It's put on there to impress people. The next one, this is a homeopathy product. There's two big stars here. It's hard to read a little bit. It says 100% natural on the stars. There's a chemical diagram of a steroid molecule in the upper left. There's just all kinds of things going on in this ad. I always think about what would happen if we erased each of the red flags from this ad. So let's erase the 100% natural stars, because that doesn't mean anything. Remember the poison ivy salad. Let's erase that big steroid molecule up there, because obviously they can't sell direct, testosterone and GH in a magazine. Those are prescription drugs. In fact, they're controlled substances. So, remove the testosterone box, remove the GH box. That's not possible. Remove the steroid molecule. It doesn't say anything about safety or efficacy. Remove the stars. You're almost whittling this down to nothing but a blue piece of paper, a blank piece of paper. So that's the end of the examples. We're just going to get through a consumer summary, and then we'll be done. Hang in there. I know it's long today. Luckily, with this audio, you can just pause it when you have to. So there's a little cartoon here, intermission. Okay, and we get to protecting clients. So organizations do exist that can apply pressure to snake oil salesmen. Unfortunately, they rarely act until a very large number of complaints arise. Here are some examples. The Better Business Bureau, the FDA. In fact, there's a website where you can make complaints to the FDA anonymously if you were burned on a product or a client got something that didn't work or made them sick, anything like that. In fact, I think a lot of dietary supplements, the reason more people don't get sick after watching how some of these formulators work that formulate them, they don't necessarily even have degrees in related fields like nutrition or pharmacy or toxicology. And I think the reason people don't all get, more often get sick is because they underdose them to try to save money. But you can fuss to the FDA. You can make complaints. So as we start to wind this down, demand peer-reviewed references from scientific journals, not just one or two cherry-picked. Look for a consensus. And as you get further in school, even question those if you have time to read the study. And then rely on your network of legitimate professionals. Even when you graduate, your professors will still help you, answer questions for you, that sort of thing. Other people that you graduate with, they're going to get specialized in different fields. So that's great. Like right now, I have friends who are dietitians. I have friends who are exercise physiologists. And think about how many different topics across those fields. You could be cardiovascular oriented. You could be bone, skeletal. You can, be a carb expert or a supplement expert. And having a network lets you call or email quickly and get some information. You know where to look, and you can get information for your clients, your patients.
The NutritionRadio.org podcast is for informational purposes only. If you're interested in starting a diet or exercise program, check with your physician, nutritionist, or qualified exercise physiologist in order to make the progress that you need.